our feature presentation.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Focus Testing, a podcast about movies where we make a movie. This is Tristan Miller, as always, and joining me today is...
I go by John Field now. Soon I'll be going by Amber Field. I'm on Twitter at America's Comic. I am the most handsome, prettiest person in the world.
You are America's premier comic.
Yes.
So, you like movies.
Oh, I love movies. I'm a huge cinemaphile.
Cinemaphile. Perfect. What was the first movie you remember seeing in the theater?
Oliver and Company.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What was that experience like?
All I remember is like that I saw it in a movie. I mean, I would have been like 3 or 4 years old, and I remember being obsessed with the movie afterwards. And I remember, I think the fact that I was inside of a giant room that showed a TV was exciting to me, as I understood reality at the time, because all that shit's new. It's okay to cuss, right?
Yeah.
So,
motherfuckers.
excuse me, I just burped. I can burp too. You can do anything on podcasts. So like that was what I remember. I think it's just like every little thing you remember as a kid. It's flashes of postcards like Norm Macdonald will talk about, and I remember being in our kitchen and asking my mom why it can't be on video, and I think it was one of the movies that was in the Disney vault, so I couldn't see it, and I was very frustrated. I've never seen that movie since.
What?
I
Really?
remember that movie very well, and like I remember like every little beat of plot. That's weird that I do. And also I used to listen to the book on tape of it before I went to bed every night. And like I've seen clips of it on YouTube. I think just I haven't had a great way to watch movies, so it's like I'm like a little particular. I don't have a TV because I'm smarter than everyone.
Well, I have a projector, so blah.
Yeah, I have a projector, which I think is both good and bad. It's like means you can't veg out as much. It's like becomes a thing where you have to like take out the projector. It becomes a chore if you want to watch something. So I do watch stuff, and I think it makes it easier to retain the stuff you watch when you watch it. I don't know about you, but versus like looking into a plastic thing glowing at you. But I mean, maybe I could watch it, but also I have the fussiest girlfriend in the world, and she can only watch Bridgerton. And
I would almost say, as well, as like if you remember it so vividly, it's almost better to preserve that memory of like I saw this thing. Something I say a lot is like if I see like all of my favorite movies, like 3 of them I've only seen one time because I remember everything about them.
Yeah.
On a similar note, what is a film that if like you were made to watch a film every single day, what film would that be?
I mean, my YouTube channel, John Field Show on YouTube, it's the one video I have that I can never live down is on the movie Josie and the Pussycats from the early 2000s with Rosario Dawson and Rachel Lee Cook. I've seen that over 19 times. I could watch that movie. I mean, sometimes I get overwhelmed watching the movie, so I don't know if sometimes I like to keep it special, but that's the movie I've seen the most my entire life, and that's like the Desert Island movie. Although, to answer it in a different way, The Irishman isn't my favorite movie, but it's such a plotting movie where you don't have to pay attention the whole time that like it's my formerly another Scorsese movie was my cleaning the house movie. It was The Departed, but nowadays it's The Irishman, which I think is also a very good, well done film with horrible CGI.
Oh yeah.
Which I don't care. It's like watching theater. You know what I mean? Like it's just I'm just letting it lie to me, movie. I don't know.
That's such a good attitude about it.
Yeah, people are mad.
Like, who cares? Just enjoy it or don't. It's fine. Okay, so on the flip side, if you had to... What's a film you never want to see again in your entire life?
I'm trying to think of a movie that made me really mad. I mean, like, I forget the bad ones.
Isn't that a gift and a curse?
Yeah. I mean, the first one that comes to my mind is Hide and Seek with one of the Scorsese guys, like... Robert De Niro, I think so, but like that wasn't so bad. I just saw that in theaters, and I was like in college. That was like the first movie I saw after, and it's like, like in the Comet's Trail of the Ring type movies, like psychological thrillers type things. I think there's like more distasteful. I really don't like. Oh, you know what? I really don't like bleak nihilist, cynical movies.
Oh, yeah.
It just feels imposing, and I feel like that's a very conservative point of view. The movie Antichrist is not just. Have you seen it?
No.
It's got just. It's one of those like. Yeah, you should watch. It's like, I mean, it's like an art house film, but also is coming out at the same time as those butt mouth movie. What do you call it? Human Centipede.
Butt mouth.
And
I was
got,
like,
yeah,
where my mind went was Clerks.
yeah, butt mouth.
Yeah, you
Ask
don't
the
never.
mouth. You don't go ask the mouth.
Exactly.
So Antichrist is it's just got like a cock being pummeled by a wood block and
Unfortunate.
a fox eating itself. And I like this part. It's a GIF on my group chat that I use all the time of like after she destroys the cock with the wood, she like goes outside and there's like a CGI fox eating itself, and it looks to the camera and goes, "Chaos reigns," which is like a really. I like that. I mean, because that's like that's a
camp.
mood, you know? Yeah.
That is fantastic. So I have some trivia questions for you.
Oh, yeah.
The first is, what is movie?
What is movie? Well,
What is movie? What is movie?
Well, I think it's magic happening at 24 frames a second.
Oh my God! Great answer. Now another question for you. In the Pixar animated film Cars.
9/11. Sorry. That was I stepped on you're saying.
Why do they have mouths? Do they eat?
Because how can they drink gas?
Yeah, what's going on?
I don't know. That's one of the worst Pixar films are not aging well.
They aren't.
They aren't. It's
They
weird
aren't.
because they were prestige films
Yes.
when they came out. Like they were like life-changing crying things.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like the most ridiculous thing to do with a Pixar film is like remember the most innovative thing technologically you've seen in it and look at it today. Because like I remember Scully's hair moving in Monsters Inc. in like the
snow.
The snow.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, this is the peak of computer graphics. And then I watch it now and it looks like a PS2.
Yep.
Thing
Precisely.
just slapping up and down. And it's so bad. And Cars is. I was thinking on Cars the other day of like politically, it's. And we're trying to decar our culture, and it's kind of weird that early 2000s were like, what if people were cars? Which is a very Robert Moses idea, like he's the guy. I'm a tour guide, so that's how I look at a lot of shit. He is early 20th century, early mid 20th century Batman villain of New York, who was like this mad bureaucrat who turned the whole city into a car city.
Ew.
The quote about him is that he cared more about buildings than people, or like cared more about cars than people. You know what I mean?
But you've completely scooted around the actual question, which is, do they eat?
They don't. They just smile.
Okay, they don't eat. They just smile.
When the movie like stops happening, they all just like stop moving, and they can still think, and they're like tortured. They don't know why they're compelled to move. That's why they made so many cars and helicopters movies. And
I forgot about the planes movie.
Yeah.
No, that's something. Going back to like the prestigiousness of Pixar films is like everyone's like, Up is so fucking good, and it's like the first 15 minutes are like it's a great short film, and then like it just kind of peters out.
Yeah.
Now.
And weird conservatism, or like I don't want to say neoliberal. Like there's just like
there's a lot like.
It's
very generic. I feel like anyone can attach any idea to it.
Yeah.
Now, what movie makes you horniest?
Secretary.
Secretary?
Have you seen it?
No. What
James
is this?
Spader, Maggie Gyllenhaal. She's not naked in the entire movie until like the end, and then like it's just like. But it's and it's a fantasy. I was listening to a podcast the other day where they're like ripping it apart as like sexist, but like it's just everything's in a fantasy space of like a girl gets out of a mental institution, she moves back in with her family, she starts to trigger alert, but talking about self-harm. She starts self-harming herself again, and meanwhile her parents like pressure her to start finding work. She works in this like austere, organic lawyer's office with James Spader as the lawyer, and
the Lizard King, famously.
Beautiful man, and they both and it's just this like they slowly evolve into like a BDSM relationship.
Okay.
And it's like really good. It's like cheesy early 2000s indie Hollywood film.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And I think like there's parts of it that kind of creak well, but it's just such a horny. It's just good. I think
it's a good horny time.
It's a good horny time, and it's like there's no nudity in it. There's no like penetration.
Wild.
It's just all tension and like there's like spank. There's like one of the best things in the whole film is well, first of all, like Maggie Gyllenhaal is she has the braces that have your arms far apart. It's like it's like the handcuffs with the bars on it, and it's around her neck. And she's just walking through this office, and they're the only ones in the office. And she's just doing all these chores, but she's doing it like so proficiently because she's been implied that she's been doing this like a million times.
Yeah.
At this point, like that, and like it's Maggie Gyllenhaal who just like is just no offense to her, but like ugly hot, you know, like real person hot. Not
yeah.
Not like
a normal looking person that happens to be hot.
Yeah. And then like there's like a scene where like I think he first spanks her as punishment for getting something wrong, and both of them are very surprised at each other, and then like he's like lurched over her, and like it does like a macro close-up shot of both of their fingers intertwining, and that's just like the horniest thing. Oh my gosh, so disgusting.
I will have to watch it. And also the fact that there's no nudity is very
there's nudity at the end, like it builds up to I think it's like action film where it builds up to like the and it's like it's not like carnal nudity. I don't want to ruin the end of the film, but like all the sex was leading up to this, and then like it's just like a really tender, intimate moment between two people that's like not even penetrative. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Leading from action films leads into my next question: are Marvel movies theme parks?
Oh wow, that's a good question.
Thank you.
I would say all Marvel movies are actually 9/11. That's my strong personal opinion. Is
do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, like I would ask you, if you're listening to this at home, look up the clip where Thanos shoves his daughter down the pit in the second to last Avengers movie, and look at the shape of the structure that surrounds him. Because like it's literally the exact footprint, it's the exact silhouette of the Twin Towers. It's not like gummied up. And my next essay I'm doing on YouTube, on the John Field Show on YouTube, is I have a little cul-de-sac because I'm talking about terrorism and mass media, and like a common theme in Marvel movies from Iron Man all the way up to like the last couple of.
I love that we started with Iron Man being like, this is actually about the Iraq War that was going on, and then they just it's so far from that. Yeah,
and it's like out of control, but like, I'll put it like this. The first of the new Spider-Man movies, I can't keep track of them. Homecoming, right? So that movie ends with this, okay, it's hard to talk about this because like there's like, sometimes when people talk about 9/11 in culture, they sound like conspiracy weirdos. I'm not saying that. I'm saying like the anxieties of our culture ends up on the screen subconsciously, and I think like they're a little aware of it, you know, enough of the fact that like it resonates with audiences. But the end of the Spider-Man Homecoming ends with an airplane knocking over a New York City icon. It hits the Wonder Wheel and it goes crashing down.
That is true, isn't it?
I think like a big theme you'll see is I think something that's a huge cultural anxiety of ours is that photo of Falling Man, of the man falling from the Twin Towers, like serenely. And a common theme that you would see not in superhero movies as much before 9/11, but after 9/11 is a person in free fall and suddenly being saved. And I think like
unless it's Amazing Spider-Man 2. Rip.
Yeah, and then it's just they get the neck snapped. And I think a lucky sea change we've seen at the very least is the new Batman movie is more alluding to domestic terrorism. So we finally moved on, but like yeah, I mean, you see so many buildings collapsing, so many allusions to blowback theory, which is kind of how we processed what 9/11 was back in the day, and a couple other things. One of my friends wrote their thesis. One of my friends' ex-partner wrote a thesis on it, and I read it, and it was really good. And it was just, I mean, that's actually like a personal obsession of mine. It's just Marvel movies and It's just they're all 9/11. The most 9/11-y one is also my favorite. I don't like a lot of Marvel movies.
Is it because it's the most 9/11-y?
In part because it's the most 9/11-y.
Okay,
I would say it's like 60% because it's so 9/11-y, and I think it's the only one to be about post-traumatic stress disorder, which is why all 9/11's in all the other films is Iron Man 3.
It's the best Iron Man.
It's the best
so
Iron Man.
good.
Nerds hate it. I don't know why.
Because they don't like the Mandarin thing, but that was a genius thing.
Yeah.
That performance
Oh,
from
I'm
Ben
sorry.
Kingsley
You don't
is
have
so
a
good.
racist caricature thing. And like Iron Man 3 is a big turning point in this thesis I read. I don't know what to call academic-y works, but it's like something that was published and it had like an abstract and everything.
Oh, yeah.
But it was a turning point where you hear about how the CIA funded MCU movies a lot. Have you heard that?
No.
Like Iron Man, they were able to like use all that military equipment because they got a subsidy from U.S. military, I should say.
Okay,
And so they have like the U.S. military has like script doctors, and they go through and it's like, we'll not do this unless you do this and this and this. So like, not only did that happen, but what happened was when there's a sea tide change that you had Obama voted president, and these movie studios started reaching for international audiences. So doing pro-American shit didn't make them as much money anymore. So, but what did make money is at least safe Hollywood anti-imperialism. So that's where you start to see more critical stuff of American imperialism in like all the films afterwards, like all the Captain America movies. You know what I mean? Like,
sure. Yeah,
Captain America 1 is like rah rah rah. Captain America 2 is don't trust anybody. Like that's and I like both of them, and I think like Captain America's queer in a way that like makes me feel comfortable. You know what I mean? Like I like that, but yeah.
That is very interesting, and I look forward to watching the video. That sounds great.
It's gonna be like 2 minutes of it, and I think I said everything I already said, but the rest of it's about capital insurrection and how mass disasters affect mass media and how mass media affects disasters.
That's very interesting. I have a final trivia question.
I love trivia.
Okay, and that is, why is Austin Powers so sexy?
Well, you know, I can answer this like, what do you call those? Like, you know how like they have those interviews where celebrities are always tired and they have to like go through.
Press junket. Yeah.
Ask me it again.
Why is Austin Powers so sexy?
Well, you know, I think he just has a certain panache. You know what I mean? I think ladies respond to a funny guy.
Just a non-answer.
Yeah. I feel so sorry. The worst ones are the Bruce Willis. Oh, he looks like he's watching his son die.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, some fucking asshole from Phoenix asks him about like a rude question.
Yes. Oh, I was so. You heard the news that he's like not well, which is unfortunate. Yeah. But long before that, he was like, I don't want to be here.
No.
So funny, so grumpy. Harrison Ford's the exact same way. Because there's someone asked him, like, is Han Solo a Force ghost in Rise of Skywalker? He's like, I don't know what that means.
You did the lip.
Yeah, it was just very good. I think he's very funny.
He's so great. He has so much contempt for the world that created him.
Just chef's kiss.
It's weird because like he's what I mean. I think he Star Wars nerds and Indiana. He fills in that fantasy of like what people want to become. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And like I think Harrison Ford's quote about Indiana Jones is like. People like him because they think they can be like him if they just do a little bit more weight training. You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
Like he hates them.
Yeah, he does. And chef's kiss. Yeah. So good. All right, so now we're gonna make up a movie. If you're ready.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so the random word is recession.
Oh, recession.
Tell me what the bare bones of the premise of Recession is, and then we'll build it together. I like to give it to the guest because otherwise I'll just come up with something stupid.
Well, you know
I don't want to hog the limelight.
I am obsessed with Recession, and I think like in the way that I like tracking 9/11 culturally as like a huge change. I think the Recession
also
is
very interesting.
A huge change that is not as loud in the media at all, but I think it's like present in films like the Premium Rush. Did you ever see
I didn't see it.
Gordon-Levitt hipster bike movie?
Yes. Oh my God, I forgot about that movie.
It's like a perfect Recession movie. It's just
oh my goodness.
There's a scene where the mafia boss, like the girl goes like, "Here's all my money. I worked 3 jobs to have it." And like the mafia boss is like licking his fingers while counting the cash, and he goes like, "Oh, the American dream." And then this like immigrant is just like, "Working 3 jobs is the American dream." He's like, "It is now." Like,
Terrible.
That's like the swan song. So what was happening? I mean, okay, I'm just kind of going off of movies that are really recession-y. Killing 'Em Softly.
Okay, haven't seen that on either.
That one's about how during the recession, mafias do bad too.
That's a very funny notion.
Yeah. So, and also you got a lot of those, I'm thinking of like, no way Tim Dillon's going to listen to this, but like Tim Dillon was like one of those predatory lenders during the recession. So like, like the recession happens and, somebody who's a predatory lender. I don't know if I want to go with that. That's like
It's a bit.
Yeah, it's like that's not the most interesting part of somebody's life is stopping being a predatory lender.
What about this? Okay, it's like Succession, but in reverse.
I like that. Like a business just failing.
Failing downward.
Blockbuster, the final days of Blockbuster.
There it is, the final days of Blockbuster. Who is there?
Wait, where are other businesses that were failing at the time?
You got. I mean, no one was doing great.
No.
But Blockbuster wasn't doing well. Radio Shack is gone because of that.
Another one of my essays is about the that I'm working on is about the Kia hamsters commercials.
Yes.
Yeah, and you can track the recession as it happens with each of the commercials. There's like 7 of them that are over like, let's say 8 years or so. And like the last 3 are stupid, but you have the original one is marketed at millennials. And so when they're just getting out of high school or college, and so this would have been like right before the recession, it's hamster, like a garage door opens and it's people doing the rat race. They're on the little hamster wheel.
Yes,
and that's how they feel. And then it's just this whole world of hamster wheel conformists. And then the Kia Soul comes by and it's got a bunch of hipster millennials playing a rotating, depending on which commercial you see, it plays 5 different songs like an iPod or something like that. And then that happens. And then the recession happens. And tied to, we were having before this started a conversation about comedy boom in the 2010s. My big theory on what fueled it is gentrification.
Yes.
That happened after the recession. You have a bunch of white, aggrieved, middle-class kids who are supposed to inherit their parents' wealth and careers. That didn't really happen, so a lot of them flooded into the city. So the next hamster commercial is them in the city rapping and invading. It's such a weird racial space of these hamsters. It's hard to like beat out, but anyways, that's what happened. Sorry about it. We should get back into the thing.
Yes.
Blockbuster.
Okay, do you want to do Blockbuster, or another notion I had was about a mall? That way we can take Radio Shack, Blockbuster, all these other things.
A dying mall.
About a dying mall during the early, I guess late.
Can it be like the gang puts together a show to save the mall?
Perfect.
Yeah.
A+. Okay.
And it fails anyways, and it ends up on a Tumblr post.
That's the end as it pulls back.
And some kid just scrolling, just likes it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
A+. Okay, so we got the ending, we got the beginning. What's the middle? Who are our characters here?
It's just easy to write, just a hack romantic comedy, right?
Okay, yeah. I could go for that.
Just like a guy at the Panera. No, there's no Paneras at the mall. What's in the mall?
Orange Julius, Panda Express.
Really
Hot Topic.
Really hot. Oh my god! Like I just watched the Abercrombie documentary.
Yes.
Am I saying that right? I don't care if I do.
Yeah, it's Abercrombie.
Abercrombie, and my girlfriend kept yelling at me because I couldn't say it right. Abercrombie and Finch. Like I like girls who wear.
I say Finch as well. It is Fitch.
Yeah.
Which is like what? That's not a word.
So like the hottest shirtless dude who's just like a himbo is that anywhere to work with? And then like I don't know. And then like a goth girl, and it becomes a I
think that's a good meet cute. That is like a side story.
That's a side story.
And then I think at the end it turns out like it's got to be because apparently we're writing a comedy here. Yeah. There has to be a twist at the end that there's a reason that they don't work out.
what was Adventureland? I'm trying to remember it because there was the A plot of the boy and the girl.
Yeah.
Have you seen that one?
Yes, with Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah, and like,
Kristen Stewart.
And that whole plot was like, everyone thought she was slutty, and he wanted to be with her, and then like, and she was also dating Dane Cook.
I forgot.
Ryan Reynolds or something like that.
Yeah.
And then in the background was like a B plot of like, I guess just SNL character actors owning a theme park. So I guess like,
how about
yeah,
okay, so we have those two characters. I like that subplot of them coming together, and then some sort of twist at the end, which we can figure out later. But who is trying to save them all? That's the big question.
The owner of the mall.
Okay, so
that's
the owner of the mall.
So okay, wait, here's the thing. Usually I guess stories sometimes are like people enters into a realm, so it'll be like, do you want it to be the himbo will be just a boring character. He's just a hot guy. He's like Alan M. and Josie and the Pussycats. Have you seen Josie and the Pussycats?
No, I haven't, but
you
I
should
will.
watch Josie and the Pussycats. Or you should watch my essay on it on the John Field show. Look up John Field, Josie and the Pussycats until I become Amber Field. I'm transitioning. It's a long story. Not a bit. So, I mean, a hot topic girl. You don't even have to have a personality. That's what Hot Topic's for. Is it's all in the clothes. But you know, like
consumerism is your personality.
She flunked out of college, you know, and has to go to community college.
Great.
And she's living with her parents, and her parents say like, you got to work a job. Why don't you work a job at the
creepy goth place
where
you love?
At the Millennium Mall.
The Millennial, is it Millennial or Millennium?
Millennium Mall.
Millennium.
I think that was a mall I had growing up somewhere in the many places I lived. Don't Google it. I'm always afraid of being doxxed nowadays. So yeah, she goes to the mall, and like that's part of like the inciting incident. She like, it's like a montage of her going to the sausage place. What do you call it? Hickory Farms.
Yeah. Yes. I haven't thought about that in a minute. Yes.
Forget Me Nots.
To like try and work there.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Papyrus.
Cool.
She goes to work at the Papyrus.
Even the cell phone stands like no.
No. Yeah, and they're giving her no because you're too much of a punk, and because she has an ideal, she has a dream. Really, you know what I mean? Like, because you got to have that. I'm sure there's better screenwriters have better things to call it. I always call it the Ethan Hawke "I want" moment.
Sure. Yeah. Now I've been thinking about this thing for a while.
Yeah. It's always like to me like the most like I want moment in a movie is in Training Day.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
I haven't, but I need to.
So it's just like, I mean, Ethan Hawke's an incredible actor.
Oh,
but
yeah.
He's also like, when they need like off the shelf white guy, and they don't ask him to try, if they don't give him like, if he does paycheck movies, I'm not mad at him for that. Yeah. And Training Day in theory is a good movie.
In theory,
I mean, I guess I don't know. It's about cops, and it's fuck cops, but so like Ethan Hawke in the beginning of the movie, and I've seen this, I think it's also in The Purge too, of just like, hey honey, I'm in a beautiful suburb house, and I'm representative of the person who's watching, the studios think is watching this film. I really want a bigger house. Like that's his like strong want. So
Sure.
or like Back to the Future. Boy, I wish I had a really big truck. And at the end, he gets a really big truck. Like every movie's about a white guy who wants something and gets it. Like that's every movie. So this one, she can't be in a band because that'd be like 12 extra characters we can't have.
Yeah.
And also she can't be acoustic single music because that's fucking horrible to listen to.
So she needs like an overarching want.
Can she be a painter?
I feel like yes. I think. And then obviously what happens along the way is that she tries to save them all. She meets people, and then the want becomes community, right? Yeah. Has to. But I think overall, I think painting personally is a little too not Hot Topic enough. Does that make sense? Yeah. I feel like, oh no, it's this. She wants to be a cartoonist on the internet.
There you go. I was gonna say it has to be like Tumblr 2010.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, she wants to
just got into
web
Tumblr, by the way. Follow me on Tumblr at America's Comic.
Yes.
Don't yell at me. People on Tumblr yell at me because I can't figure out how to quote tweet yet. So like I break the etiquette. You're on Tumblr, right?
I am. Yeah.
Do you use it like socially?
I'm trying to, but I'm bad at finding people that would be good to socialize with. Does that make sense? I'm still like half committed to it, but I used it a lot, and then I deleted the account I used because I was a teenager.
Yeah,
and so
I think it's nowadays the only social media where hashtags are useful. That's how I find people. It's like I found And also it's kind of fun where like I'm not a fandom person, but now Garfield's my personality. You know what I mean?
Garfield, everything surrounding Garfield, very funny.
Yeah.
Garfield itself, only sometimes funny. Big fan of Garfield.
Yeah.
Have 2 Garfield books on that shelf over there. My friend recently sent me a shirt it's Gar...
The Cowboys?
No, it's Garfield, but it's Gar Seinfeld.
Oh my God.
And it just has Jerry Seinfeld's face on Garfield's body going, what's the deal with lasagna? Very good. But, so she wants to be a cartoonist on the internet. So she's walking
Stealing
around.
Garfield content.
Yes, making Garfield me. That's how she begins. She's obsessed with Jim Davis.
Yeah. And she's like perverting. I think that would actually add a little bit of stink on the thing. Or like, sometimes like when they try to do artists, they're like bad. It's like every time a movie tries to do a teen's room, it doesn't smell. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like you should be able to smell a teen's room.
What if she's the creator of Garfield minus Garfield?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And she just like perverts Garfield. And
she's a
that's her
Garfield
thing.
pervert.
And she's got like, her parents were like, are you gonna make a career out of this? And it's like a millennial, post-recession, apocalyptic nihilism of just like, no, I like just being in community and having all this stuff. And she's like trying to figure out what she does. And there's like a ticking clock could be like, she is picking up fans and people like her. And there's like a comic book convention where she pays $600 for a table. And at the end of the summer, like that's how she makes her money back. She like uses her parents' credit card to pay for this table. And they're like, well, you're going to have to earn that back by, $600. How much would you make $600 at Hot Topic in 2010? Probably like $200 a week, right?
I mean, if you're working full time, but she's obviously not going to do that because she's a teen and like blah, blah, blah. So she's probably working. I mean, also the thing about like, I don't know, have you worked retail?
Yeah. I worked Hot Topic. Yeah.
They schedule it for 4 hours a day and it's just bonkers. So I feel like it would take her probably, I think we could say like 6 months to get to that.
Well, okay.
Because also it's the recession and they don't want to pay anybody.
In high school in 2004, I made $1,600 an entire summer, I think.
Okay.
Because I made enough to save up for a laptop.
Okay.
That's what I remember. It's like 3 years before this.
I think also we can add to the expense of like, not only does she have to buy the table, she has to buy plane tickets, she has to buy all the equipment to make, set it up. So it can be like, let's say $1,600. Right?
That heightens the stakes where she just thinks she gets to the table and the parents are like, I think I would like, there's like part of this conceit is like, we're making a fun movie, but also like, I would like to see in a movie like that moment of realization, like you have an ambition as a kid, and you take a risk to do it, but you also don't know how like the logistics of the real world work.
Absolutely.
And you have to face that condescending moment of your parents who don't get it, but try to explain to you and negotiate for your wants of like, you just bought a table and you paid it for the thing. You can't just do that. You have to like, we're not driving you to Minnesota.
Minnesota's fine. As a Minnesotan, I allow it.
The Chicago Wizard World or whatever. Because like I don't know,
Emerald City Comic Con or whatever.
I hate when they don't get it right. You know what I mean?
Oh
like,
yeah.
It's just like you got to get it right. Or like the movie Heathers. Have you seen that one or no?
Yeah. Recently for the first time. Yeah. Very fun movie.
So the cussing in that and all the slang is the guy's like, well, if I try to use kid slang now, it's going to be dated by the time the movie comes out. But, if I just make up my own slang and just kind of have it rhyme with what, works nowadays, I think that's the same thing. It's just like you make Garfield minus Garfield, but kind of rhymes with it. You know what I mean? Like, but it has to be Garfield or Hagar.
It has to be Garfield.
Hagar the rapist. That would be horrible.
That would be a girl. I almost think like the idea of like Far Side minus cows. So it's just the tools, no cow, that sort of thing. But I think Garfield is more of a Dilbert minus Dilbert would be a very interesting concept. Terrifying, horrifying. But yeah, so she's there, and then so she's at the mall. Do we still want the mall to be closing? Do we? Or
I think so. It's got to have that apocalyptic.
And because then it's kind of an unsatisfying ending of like the mall still closes, but then she has to go to this Comic-Con and like leave all her friends behind, and then she goes to college the next month or whatever, and like that was just that summer.
I think. Well, that's what the plot of Adventure Time is. Did I say Adventure Time?
You did.
Adventure Land. And it's like he has to work this one summer, and also I think like films like coming of age films a lot of times are about transitionary times, and also there's like there's a thing called like the fallacy of the symbol or something. I can't remember what it's called, but like where like this is going to be way up my ass, but like, and this is like a little more mature than what I talk about, but I think most children's media and how I approach, part of my job is teaching kids how I approach, I think most children's media is about death. And that's because death resonates to children more than adults, because children are approaching death closer and more quicker than adults do, because their childhood is quickly dying on them.
Yes.
Really fast.
Yes.
And so if you have like a death and a transition and like a thing collapse at the end of it, it also closes the door behind her so she can like move on and go back to school. Like, and it's also like, it'd be a funny joke of like, let's put on a show to save them all. No. This is a commercial thing. It has no communal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%. It's like we have to save them all. Why?
Yeah.
Why? For sure. I like that a lot. Who is playing our lead?
Oh, I'm bad with actresses. Who is hot in 2000? I mean, I guess now, right?
Yeah, probably would be now.
Like early 20s.
I would say I think Anya Taylor-Joy would be good. Olivia Cooke would be good. I think not as our lead, but Patty Harrison should be in it, playing some like.
Who's Patty Harrison?
She's a very funny comic and performer. You should look her up. I think would like her very much. Playing like a weird, like she works as the Orange Julius and she's like a fun side character. But let's go back to the lead.
I thought of the bad part of it, and just like the middle-aged one. You just got to get out there and believe in yourself. Here's your orange. Like that's 80s, like coming of age.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think also, see, like if it was at the time, it would be Alia Shawkat, right?
Who? What?
Alia Shawkat.
The
lead. Like if we were making it during the time it is set,
maybe from Arrested Development, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So like, who is that equivalent now? We're trying to.
I just been so out of it with movies. Like I can't watch Netflix. I'll watch like I love Netflix. I think I don't know.
Okay, so let's just go with the Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah.
Queen's Gambit, if that's
okay.
If
Her, that'll be fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's our lead. I personally think, I don't know the actress's name, but if we can get Bryan Cranston and the mom from Malcolm in the Middle to play like your parents, just as like a vibe, like as like a goofy little bit.
And they don't play like they play like the polar opposites of the characters.
Exactly. He's grumpy, and you know she's not assertive at all.
Yeah. Also, there could be like a comment and play on because like what was happening at the time was a movie I like a lot is Juno.
Yep.
And it can kind of be a comment on. Or build on Juno, which I think is some of where I'm drawing from a little bit. Mm-hmm. Juno is interesting because like also like kind of millennial nihilism. I don't know, apathy. Millennial apathy is like Juno's character didn't have that I want moment. You know what I mean?
No, something happened to her.
Yeah, and she just gets knocked up, and it's not like, oh no, now I can't be a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just like, oh, now I have to deal with this.
Yeah. That's just interesting. But yeah, you got to have the early 2000s, because this is like I mean I think like the tone of this is like throwback nostalgia reference to early 2000s teen comedies. You know what I mean? Especially like women fronted teen comedies
like Whip It,
Stick It. Have you seen Stick It?
I know, but I remember the name.
Yeah, Stick It is next to Josie and the Pussycats my favorite film. It's just so and it's not perfect. It's just like it's a good, and it's kind of the same shit.
Okay.
You know.
So I think we have all the like the moving components of it, and we have beginning, middle, end. We have a cast of characters. Who's going to be the himbo though?
I don't know. Just the most generic, off the cart, hot guy with a lot of muscles.
Okay. Why not have it be Tom Holland?
Yeah, sure. That's what I was thinking, but yeah.
Just like
he's got a baby face though, right?
He's got a baby face.
Yeah,
he's not, but you know, we're playing around like college age teens, and he's like jacked. So like, there you go.
I'm thinking of like, because like,
or
Abercrombie was like, everyone there looked like they were out of a Nazi poster.
That is true.
Yeah.
Who looks like a Nazi today?
That's something the documentary. I thought it was good. I heard a good critique of like documentaries these days of like after. This is from the Maintenance Phase podcast with one of these people, but after the Michael Jordan documentary, they don't have narrators anymore, so there's nobody establishing themes or ideas.
Yes,
and so it's all on the normies who are on the feet, thing. So they're talking about the aesthetics of Abercrombie and Fitch, and they're talking about, it's like, oh yeah, it lionized a time that has gone past that doesn't exist anymore. It's really
blonde hair, blue eyed.
Yeah, it really interested in power,
Yeah.
and it's got like self-apocalyptic homoeroticism. I don't know what aesthetic that is. I couldn't think of
it's
any.
one man's insane vision of what he thinks an ideal man is.
Yeah.
And he made everyone look at it.
Something I was kind of processing is, like, I think a problem politically now is, like, and this happens, like, leftist, liberal, centrist, conservative, but, like, my political in-group is, like, leftists and liberals, is, like, everybody internalizes conservative hierarchies. So I think, like, we look at people with power and assume they'll be in power forever.
Oh, yeah.
And that the people won't rise up. And I think, like, something I was kind of processing was, like, looking at how in the present, as it was happening, if we had, like, Twitter during Abercrombie's time, there would be the assumption that firing every one of your staff who's good and just leaving the hot people there, all for the sake of branding, is like a smooth move. Like, that's what we do with Elon Musk. Like, everything he does is looked at as, like, 4D chess.
Yeah.
Something that will sustain his power and not him, like, shooting himself in the foot over and over and over. And same with the Abercrombie guy. Is just like, he drove his business to the ground.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just like, he's MC Hammer, watching the first. Sorry about that. So Abercrombie guy could it be? I guess it wouldn't be a person of color.
No, it'd probably have to be.
That'd be
like,
an interesting tension.
I mean, that would be an interesting side plot as well.
Yeah.
It's like if it was like, I don't know, a person of color
who struggles with employment and like the job like rat fucks him.
And he's only like, man, it starts off like he's working a bunch and they see each other a bunch. And as I guess we're doing this over the summer, I guess.
Yeah.
As the summer continues, you see less and less and less of him because they schedule him less and less and less.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he's like, I got fired.
Yeah.
And then like, that's his subplot. And,
And he's like working another job. That's what she sees him. Is like, what happened? I mean, but is like the romance, like their whole story together? Is that like the crux, or also like?
I feel like it's more focused on her, and then that's like more even I mean, I feel like she's the lead character, so it's focused on that, and then like I feel like at the beginning it's very much like a kind of a romance thing, and they're like flirting a bunch, and then as we were saying, as it goes on, he can't keep being there, and then I feel like at the end she sees him working somewhere, and it's kind of sad. And he's like, hey, how are you, the meetup? But then at the end, she's at the panel, and then he walks up to get something signed.
Oh, that's cute. I like
Isn't
that.
it?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that would be good. I don't know the fella's name, but the guy that just got casted to play the Doctor from Doctor Who.
Oh, yeah.
He's in Sex Education as well. I think he would be very good from what
he
I've
young?
seen. He's young looking. He was playing, in Sex Education, they're playing like high school, junior high people.
Yeah,
so like, Andrew Garfield was 33 when he played Spider-Man. It's fine. No one cares. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, I just went in my head. They're doing a new Degrassi show, HBO, and they're just gonna make it into Euphoria. I don't want hot. The whole point of watching Degrassi is to watch literal children get harmed.
So I think we have our movie.
Yeah.
I would say I feel like if we can coax Drew Barrymore out of retirement to
That'd be
direct
great.
another movie, it'd be
Like
good.
she did with Whip It.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have a speed round.
Yeah.
We both have the same word. You do one, I do one, then we can move on to the
This
new
is
word.
association?
It's like a 2-sentence pitch for a movie based off of the word.
Okay.
Say, I can go first to give you an example
Yeah.
if you'd like. So the next one is Prosper. Okay, Prosper is a Terrence Malick film about farming in North Dakota, and a bushfire happens, and then they have to recover economically through the winter.
I guess for me it would be a movie about a person who joins one of those fundamentalist churches, Prosperity Bible fundamentalist churches, and they get intertwined in that community, and they're there entirely to grift them out of money and trying to figure out an angle to get in, and figures out the seedy underworld, which I think is the Righteous Undertones. I have never seen the show.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very, very well could be. Mystery is the word that just came up.
Mystery?
Yeah, do you want to go or do you want me to go
Wait, you
again?
go. I think I got
Okay. Mystery is about... It's about someone trying to find the last VHS copy of what they think is Stephen King's Mystery, but it's Stephen King's Misery. And they just it's like 3 degrees of separation, and they're trying to find this film and it doesn't exist. But then that leads them to discover like a conspiracy theory about Stephen King, and then it's about, I guess, the Illuminati. Your turn.
Do you know wrestling at all?
Not at all.
There's a famous story in the 1970s of like an well-established wrestler who got stabbed to death in a shower in
oh my gosh.
San Juan, I think, or somewhere in Puerto Rico. I don't know any city in Puerto Rico. Sorry, Puerto Ricans. And he got stabbed to death, and everybody knows who did it, but the guy who did it never got arrested. And it would be about one of the wrestlers in their locker room, who's like a mid-card, mid-career wrestler, trying to reconcile the shock of the murder and everybody else's callousness, and him realizing that this is not his, that becoming disillusioned with the thing that he became passionate about and finding something else.
Great. Pier.
But how's that spelled?
Pier.
All right.
Okay.
Appear on a lake.
Yeah.
And whenever you throw something in the lake, something comes back out. I don't know.
It's a magical lake?
Yeah, it's a magical lake, kind of cocoony.
Okay.
Like the movie Cocoon. But also just like some sort of mad world, just constant layering of ridiculously. I have no clue. I got nothing on top of that.
I like that idea, but every time it gives you what you need in that moment.
Yeah.
Like if it's money, it's money. If it's like a relationship, it's a relationship. But it takes 3 years off your life.
Yeah.
And we follow this guy who starts to abuse it, and then he has to try to figure out a way to reverse it. And whatever happens. For me, it's about a woman in her mid 50s, and she's trying to become the general manager of a Pier 1 Imports, but her boss is sexist, and like a women empowerment film. I think we can do 2 more. Is that okay?
I like stories of people trying to rise to the middle. And
yeah.
Like Barbara and Star Go to Del Mar was like exactly that. And also that was like a throwback film. Like I think kind of like was, whatever.
I think it's really, I love small town humor and I love a normal person trying to accomplish a normal goal in a movie. I want movies about like a bus driver. Patterson, have you seen that film with Adam Driver?
No.
He wants to be a poet, but he's a bus driver. It's a very sweet film.
Yeah.
It's great. And it's like it's like kind of artsy fartsy, but it's like so normal. He's just got a normal life. All right. Arise is the next word. I can go if you want.
Yeah, you can go.
Arise is about the moment before the sun rises for the last time on Earth. We know it's going to fizzle out. Humanity still has managed to be here.
Yeah.
And it's about that night. And it's like, okay, what do we do? And it's like the last colony of people trying to get the last amount of sun to solar power the rocket into space. And things don't go so well.
Oh, man, my head just went to 9/11. I used to have this image in my head. I don't know why. Like, I'd be mowing my lawn in high school, and I had an image in my head of, like, a movie where, like, a guy enters into a ghost-type world. So he goes into, like, the ghost building of 9/11. And as he's going up, like, all the ghosts, as he goes going up the staircases, all the ghosts are, like, ascending down and, like, walking past him. I don't know why. I used to go into all these fantasies of, like, the most abstract, like, Borges-esque, like, that's pretentious, but, like,
it's so pretentious, I don't know what that means.
Oh, Borges, South American writer, I think from Argentina, and all his shit is, like, like 5 degrees removed from the Matrix. Like, one of his stories will be about, like, a labyrinth that goes on forever, and a library that an infinite size library, which means or like a book with an infinite amount of pages, which means that if you burn it, the smoke will burn forever and destroy all of humanity and stuff like that. Like it's just playing with those hypotheticals. And I used to like just go into those fantasies a lot. I don't know how I was like processing some sort of pain, but also
it's very astute of you. Like, something's going on. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there was like dysphoria, but I still haven't unpacked all that shit. But like, there's like one where like my suburbs was in the grid system, but it was suburbs, And so like I just imagine somebody like just like running through it and it being like a labyrinth and like ending up exactly where they were before, and it's just like all these dummy houses. And you knock on the door and there's like nothing there, and then this fantasy evolved where like I would be driving home at night and I see through these dark suburbs, and I see like on the street like an entire swarm of hamsters just run across the street, and I'm like, what's that? And then a giant hamster destroys one of these suburban one-story houses, and and just like starts things like battle, and then like and it's just like, oh man, it was so weird. I mean, just all ended on this, but like so yeah, I used to work at a fast food chop place, chicken chop place. You can figure out what that is, but like we were facing the highway, and like my station was, the cashier's thing was like facing the highway, and then you look out, and something about Florida is it's so flat and so apocalyptic, just like you just have, you know, nothing in front of you, and then the sky, and then so it's like the highway, and then beyond that is just swamp and like a solar panel thing, like early 2000 solar panel thing. And I just imagine like these like giant like long-legged creatures with like two bipedal long, like World of Worlds or like the Striders from the Half-Life series, just like walking down and across it, and just, I don't know, there's just weird fantasies I go into. I'd share that. I don't know, I've never I haven't thought of that in years. Sorry.
No need to apologize. I think that would make a good film. So I want to thank you for being on. Where can people find you? Blah, blah, blah.
I am, if you're on Tumblr, go find me at America's Comic on Tumblr. That's the one I'm having fun with. And I don't have a lot of confidence as Twitter as a platform to grow anymore. So, but I am on Twitter for now at America's Comic. The most important one though is, and the thing I put my most creative stuff into that I will be coming out with within the next, hopefully 3 months, is John Field Show on YouTube. It's video essays mostly focused on death and politics, and I think a lot of my newer stuff's pulling from my community organizing background that I have, and every now and then a sketch and stuff like that. And if you're in the New York City area within the next 2 months, I'm going to have a premiere of my next film, which is on the zip tie guy during the Capitol insurrection, and about how mass media affects terrorism and how terrorism affects mass media.
Very cool. And if you like this program, you can go to patreon.com/TristanJMiller and get early access to it. Everything else is in the show notes. Thank you and good night.
Oh, that was so much fun. That was the most fun I had a podcast in a while.
Good.